Hello, boys and girls. Welcome to Story Time with Grandma Pat. And today we have a wonderful story, and it's about a little girl growing up in the Bronx. And her name is Sonia Sotomayor. And our book was written by Jonah Winter, and the illustrations by Adele Rodriguez. And this is little Sonia. A judge grows in the Bronx. You never know what can happen. Sometimes the most beautiful moonflower blossoms in an unexpected place. Maybe on a chain link fence, near broken glass, near an abandoned building. And here we are, this beautiful flower is growing on this chain link fence. And we don't know who's watering it, but someone is. And sometimes the most amazing person blossoms in just such a place as that. And so it was with the little girl named Sonia. Her blossoming began with her mother's love and hard work. And this is the little girl, Sonia. And she's growing up in the Bronx in New York. Oh, how Sonia's mother loved her. She worked night, she worked day, she worked all the time as a switchboard operator, just so Sonia and her brother could go to a private school. Their mom only finished third grade, but she wanted her children to do better than she did. They lived in public housing in New York, and it was called the South Bronx, a place where most people had very little money, and Sonia's family was no different, with only their mother to support them. And here they are. There's Sonia's mom carrying a bag of groceries, and here's Sonia playing jump rope, and here's her brother playing with his truck. You see, Sonia's father died when she was only 9 years old, and that left just an empty chair and much sadness. But you can't give in to sadness when your children need to eat. And that's why Sonia's mother worked and worked, and then she came home and she cooked pork chops that particular day, and that was Sonia's favorite. Oh, how Sonia loved her mother. And here's Sonia and her mom. And mom is letting her taste the food that she just fixed. When Sonia's mother wasn't cooking or working, she was studying. She wanted to become a nurse. And so after the children were in bed, she would study at night so that she'd be able to become a nurse and make more money to support her family. There was nothing she would not do to help Sonia and her brother. And here's mom. Sonia's sleeping, and mom is studying by the light in the room. Sonia loved the world her mother gave her. Her mother and father were from Puerto Rico, and Sonia grew up surrounded by tastes and sounds of Puerto Rican culture. A favorite meal was Spanish rice and beans, and she loved the big family parties that they had. On Saturday nights, Sonia's family and friends would get together, and while the grown-ups sat in one room playing dominoes, Sonia and her cousins, they would play bingo with their aunt. And here they are enjoying themselves. And she was surrounded by books, school books, library books, and a set of encyclopedias her mom saved every penny to buy. And when the schoolwork was done, there were her favorite books. And she loved Nancy Drew mystery novels. That was her favorite. And Sonia decided that's what she wanted to do. She wanted to be just like Nancy Drew. And here she is with a glass looking for something just like Nancy. But then something happened that made her change her mind. When she was only 8 years old, her doctor sat her down and told her some bad news. She had a disease called diabetes. And if you have diabetes, you have to take a special shot of medicine every day for the rest of your life. And that's what happened to Sonia. And here she is. She just learned that she had diabetes, and the doctor let her and her mom know that she would have to take a shot for the rest of her life. So maybe she wouldn't be like Nancy Drew, but that didn't mean that she was unstoppable. Her favorite TV show was Perry Mason, about a courtroom lawyer. And one episode ended with the image of a judge, the most powerful person in the courtroom, and a light bulb went on in Sonia's head, and she decided she was going to become a judge. And that's not easy. Sonia knew she'd have to she'd have to get really good grades to become a judge. So while other kids were out playing, Sonia would be studying at the kitchen table in her house. And here she is, she's studying because she knows she has to get really good grades in order to become a judge. But you know what happened? By the time Sonia graduated from high school, she had won an award for being the very best student in the whole school. What an honor. You can imagine how proud her mother was. This was her daughter, Sonia. Ay, bonito. What an honor. And here's Sonia graduating from high school, and she was the best student in the whole school. Sonia's grades were so good that she was accepted at one of the very best colleges in all of America, and that was Princeton University. This too was an honor. But Princeton was not in the Bronx. Where were the subways? Where was the merengue music that Sonia loved? And where were the people who looked like Sonia? For the first time in her life, Sonia felt scared and shy and very out of place, almost like she was on a different planet. Here she is. She just received that wonderful honor as being the best student in the whole school, and then she was accepted at Princeton University. Sonia was feeling scared now because she was in a place that was so different from everything that she knew. But during the first week, she heard a cricket in her dorm room, and it scared her. What was that strange insect? As it turns out, it was on the outside of the room, outside her window. Because growing up in the projects, Sonia never had a tree outside her window. And here's the cricket, and Sonia's looking out at it. After she saw what it was and realized that it wasn't in her room, she wasn't scared anymore. But growing up in the projects, Sonia never had the sort of luxuries that her classmates had. Most of the Princeton kids had grown up taking tennis lessons and vacationing in a place called Europe. And they would go skiing for Christmas. And many of their parents had gone to Princeton also. And suddenly, Sonia began to feel like she was poor. Being Latino and feeling inferior. Where was the warm, comfy blanket of her family? Oh, how she missed them. And here she is. She's all by herself. If you were in Sonia's shoes, some of you might have decided, well, I want to go home where I can be comfortable. But Sonia was like a flowering vine that would not stop growing. She was not going to give up. She was going to survive in this strange new world. She would spend her first summer break reading all the books that she could find because she knew that if she read books, she would learn about all the things that she didn't know, and she would become much smarter. And that's what she wanted to do. So she spent the whole summer just reading about things. She would become the head of a club for the Latino students at Princeton. And she would push herself to the limit, studying day and night, night and day at the library. And she would graduate once again with the highest honors of any student in her class. Wow, Sonia's pretty smart, isn't she? Success comes to those who make the most of the chances that they're offered in life. And Sonia did become a judge, and a good judge. She was known for working hard and always being prepared. And the lawyers, they needed to be prepared too. And here Sonia is, sitting in the courtroom with her gavel. Let's see, what's going to happen now? Unlike many judges, she had grown up in poverty. She was a poor little girl. She had grown up with parents from Puerto Rico. She had seen things that most judges had not seen. People she had grown up with had gone to jail, and people she knew had grown up poor. They were still poor, and many of them weren't as lucky as she had been. They had had trouble learning to speak English and trouble finding jobs. Unlike many judges, she knew firsthand what prejudice was, what it was like to be judged for the way you look. And in a world of judges, this made Sonia very special. And here Sonia is, and she's just thinking about the people that she knew when she grew up and the disadvantages that they had. But you know what? Sonia was a very special judge, and it didn't stop there. No, you see, Sonia was offered a chance of a lifetime. She was invited to the White House by the President of the United States. And you know what his name is? His name is Barack Obama. Think of that. It would be an honor just to go to the White House. But to receive an invitation from the president, that's what happened to Sonia. President Barack Obama had decided to nominate Sonia to the best job that a judge could possibly have, and that was to be a Supreme Court justice. The Supreme Court is the highest court in the whole country. Supreme Court decisions help to shape the laws of the land that we live in, and this was huge. There had never been a Latin American on the Supreme Court. How strange this was. There are so many people of Mexican, Puerto Rican, Dominican, and Cuban descent, adding color to this great garden of ours in America. Why shouldn't all these people have someone on the Supreme Court? She was one of the most respected judges in the country. She was the perfect choice. And here she is with the president, and he had just nominated her to be a Supreme Court judge. Wow. This was an honor beyond anything that Sonia could ever imagine. But at the announcement ceremony, Sonia spoke about her mother rather than herself. I have often said that I am all that I am because of her, and I am only half the woman that she is. Then, speaking straight to her mother in the audience, she said, I thank you for all you have given me and continue to give me. Her mother cried and cried. This was her daughter. It wasn't over, though. There were some bumps in the path to the Supreme Court. Sonia managed to get a broken ankle, but that didn't slow her down. And angry people calling Sonia names like racist, just because she was proud to be a Latino judge. We should all be proud of who we are, whatever color or nationality we are. And there were days and days of tough questions from a panel of 19 senators, a row of white faces, most of them male. And here's Sonia by herself. But this didn't stop Sonia. Nothing could stop her. The dynamo from the Bronx, from making history as the nation's first American Supreme Court Justice. Ay, bonito. You never know what can happen, especially when you water a flower. And remember, Sonia's mother was the one that watered her flower. And now we have Judge Sonia Sotomayor. I think that was a wonderful story. And again, it just lets you know that when you set your mind to it, anything you want to be or do, you can do it. You just have to study and work hard and know that you can be the very best. Thank you, boys and girls. Have a good day.